Welcome back. There are plethora of funds available in the market to invest your hard-earned money, but how do you assess which is the right fund for your portfolio? What are the criteria that one should look at to help you navigate through this maze? We have on board Arnav Pandya, founder Money Edu School. Also, do not forget to send us your portfolio queries on our WhatsApp number, which is 8657974571. You can also email us your queries on themoneyshow@etnow.tv. All right, so let's move on to our first viewer, which is who is Manjunath from Bangalore. Hi, good evening. How are you doing?
Kavita, myself Manjunath. I'm doing good. I had some query related to ICICI Prudential Thematic Advantage Fund. So it's basically a fund of fund which invests in thematic funds. So I want to know the expense ratio, how it is calculated. Is it the sum of expense ratio of the underlying funds, or is it just one single expense ratio?
Arnav?
So if whenever you look at a fund of funds, the fund of fund is going to invest in other funds. So when you look at the expense ratio which is given for the fund of funds, this is the expense which that particular fund is actually incurring. So in this case, I mean, if you look at it, I think the expense ratio is around 0.25%. So this is the expense which this particular fund is incurring on its own. Now, whenever you look at the underlying funds which are in the portfolio, those funds already have an expense ratio which they are disclosing, or rather which they are adjusting in their net asset value. So in effect, even though you are looking at just one single expense ratio, what you as a fund of fund investor is experiencing is that the holding value of your fund already includes the expense ratios of all the underlying funds. Plus, in addition, there is an expense ratio for your particular fund of funds, which is related to its administration, distribution, marketing, and even the fund management cost, which is there. So that is in addition to what the other funds are already charging and adjusting in their net asset value.
Manjunath, is there anything else that you would want to ask?
Nothing. So how is the fund performance like?
See, the fund, if you look at it, its components are various thematic funds. So you have the top holding, which is the ICICI Pru Banking and Financial Services Fund. Then you have the technology fund, you have the healthcare and other fund. So in effect, what is actually happening here in this fund is that you are getting a virtual diversified portfolio because there are so many sectors. There's also a transportation thing. So in effect, the performance is in tune with what you are seeing in the market, but it is slightly inefficient in the sense that my choice always would be that, I mean, once if you look at a diversified equity funds which has exposure to all these sectors, you will find that the comparable performance is better for a diversified equity.
All right, let's move on to our next viewer. We have Keyur Patel from Baroda. Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
How are you doing, Keyur? Thank you so much for sending us your query. Please ask your question.
I plan to invest for 25 lakhs. Can you please guide me where to invest
Okay.
for medium to long term?
Okay.
And can say have a good risk tolerance?
Okay. Can you please tell me what will be the time duration, medium to short to medium term means 5 years?
No. Medium to long term.
Medium to long.
5 to 10.
5 to 10 years. Okay. Anna?
So, I mean, if you look at it, see, 5 to 10 years is a very long time gap. So let us assume that, I mean, there is some requirement which comes after 5 years, some which comes later 7 years, and then some even later at around 10 years. So if you are looking at, say, a 5-year time horizon, according to me, this is not good enough to have a complete exposure to equities, because of the fact that even though you have a lump sum right now, I mean, the idea should be that you should invest it in a staggered manner, because this kind of equity investment is not a good idea. So the plan should be that for the 5-year exposure, you can take exposure to hybrid funds, and for the 7 and the 10-year goals, you can have an element of equity oriented funds in the portfolio, depending on how you want to distribute the amount of lump sum which you have. For the hybrid funds, you can maybe invest in it in 2 to 3 installments, while the equity portion should, I mean, at least go for 6 to 9 months. So till the time all this amount is distributed. For the hybrid section, I mean, balanced advantage funds are a good option. And for the longer term goals, pure equity funds, maybe a flexi cap fund and a large and mid cap fund, or even a pure mid cap fund would make a better sense for those kind of goals.
All right. Is there anything else that you would want to ask, Keval?
Yeah. Can
Sure.
Can you suggest me a few names of the funds that the sectors in which you suggested investment?
So, I mean, if you are looking at the balance advantage category, which is suitable for the 5-year goal, the choice would be something like, say, an ICICI Pru Balance Advantage Fund and a Kotak Balance Advantage Fund. If you are looking for the longer term funds, then say for the large and mid cap category, you have Canara, Robeco Emerging Equities Fund. From the flexi cap category, you have Parak Parik Flexi Cap. For the mid cap category, you have Kotak Emerging Equities. I mean, if you have a mixture of all these funds, then it would make for a good portfolio, which is well diversified and which also has a good potential of meeting your goals over this longer time period.
All right, let's move on to our next viewer. We have Karan from UAE on the phone line with us. Karan, good evening. Thank you so much for sending us your query.
Good evening. Hello.
Yes, Karan, I can hear you. Tell me.
First of all, I would like to thank you all for giving us guides and tips on how to invest.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching the
yeah,
show.
Actually, currently I have SIPs into the 10 mutual funds, which I have shared the details.
Sure, yeah.
I need to build a portfolio for a long term, and I am ready to do a SIP of around 30 to 40,000 per month. I just wanted to know, whether I am in the right direction or not, because I just need to build a portfolio for long term, maybe for retirement. That's it.
Any specific reason why you have concentrated your investments to two specific AMCs?
Basically, I just checked on the internet which funds were giving a good return, so that's why I just sort of put a little bit into the small cap, mid cap, like this.
So let's filter out your portfolio enough.
So, I mean, if you look out at the entire situation from 2 angles, whether this is a suitable approach or not, first, in terms of the amount which you are already investing and which you are planning to invest, this is a good thing, because the amount which you are looking to scale up is also significant. So this is on the right track. You can go about it, the process, in this particular manner. The second part, which is in terms of the existing holdings, the first subsection here is in terms of you do not need so many funds in your portfolio. So 10 funds are too much. You can easily make do with 4 or 5 funds, and which is what you should look at in terms of consolidating the portfolio. Because the fund, I mean, the portfolio, existing portfolio, it has virtually everything, including 2 sector funds, thematic funds, plus a large exposure to the mid cap space, because there are multiple mid cap funds in there. So my choice would be that out of these 10, you should retain just 2 funds, which is the Mirai Asset Emerging Blue Chip Fund and the PGIM Mid Cap Fund, which will give you an exposure to the large and mid cap space where there is predominance of large caps. Plus, PGIM's mid cap is a pure mid cap fund. So these 2 you can retain from the existing ones. In addition, there is a tax saver fund where there might be a lock-in, so you can continue with that also. And instead of the remaining ones which you are closing down, you can add two funds. One is in the flexi cap space where you have Parag Parikh flexi cap, and then in the small cap space you can add SBI small cap. And whatever amount it is, you can concentrate or direct it towards these four funds itself, and whatever you want for the tax saving fund depending on your tax requirements.
All right, that will be all. Thank you so much, Karan, for sending us your query. And with that, it's a wrap. Arnav, thank you so much for being on the show. And we are going to leave you with our WhatsApp number and email ID where you can keep sending us your queries. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.